Designs come and go. There are the good, the bad, and there are many ugly. I always say a great designer takes into consideration the aesthetic of a style, as well as the practical use of a day-to-day living for the person that's actually using the space. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Phoenix Gray, aka Design Daddy, and today we are going to talk about impractical interior design styles that look great in photographs that in practice fall short of being livable. First on the list, not many people actually realize, and they've been extremely popular in a lot of new builds, is having the walk-in closet and the primary ensuite connected to each other. Typically, you would think this is a great idea. You have ease of access, but look at these terrible examples. Having all of these clothes and moisture absorbing items so close to steam and moisture is a terrible combination that is going to lead in disaster. Clothing and bathrooms do not mix if they are within a stale environment. Having that constant moisture exposure for your clothing is going to lead to mold. It's going to lead to your clothing actually breaking down over time, that it's not going to actually withstand the test of time for most clothing that you may spend a lot of money on. The only time I actually see this design style working in practice is in hotels, because your clothing is not stagnant, it is not there for a long period of time, and that moisture imbalance in the space doesn't really interfere. Having these design styles like this, trust me, looks incredible in photographs. These are perfectly styled examples of how well it can look, but I want you to think from a livable and a function standpoint of how bad this actually is. Cloud pillow sofas are another really bad offender on this impractical interior design trend, because trust me, they look absolutely beautiful. I have been to the Restoration Hardware. I sat on one of these, trust me, I did not want to leave it. But look at what they look like after just sitting on it one time. They are, in fact, a pillow. They are stuffed with down. You have to be constantly refluffing them. They will never look picture perfect when it comes to an actual stylized look in your living room or any space that you have them. This also applies to any accent chairs, even those surround pillow beds that I've seen that look like this. They are comfortable as hell. Trust me, I will give them that. But from a livable standpoint, if you are actually going to be having one of these, you have to fluff it every time you get up. Honestly, this looks like what your hands look like when you get over a pool from being too long. Like, the pruniness of them does not do anything for the design aesthetic of your space. So many people jumped on this when it came out. I saw every TikToker online showing the Restoration Hardware dupes that you could find on Amazon or Wayfair that looked really beautiful in pictures, and trust me, they do. But in the livable standpoints of this, it looks absolutely like garbage. And if you are purchasing one of these at Restoration Hardware, it starts at $10,000. And if I am spending $10,000 plus on a couch, you best believe I am not going to be fluffing it every time I get up and down. Wrinkly balls. This is another DIY nightmare that I've seen a lot of people do that looks great in photographs. It is concrete countertops, especially in your kitchen or even on your vanity, because a lot of people have been upcycling a lot of those old vanity styles or even their old existing countertop and reframing it to be concrete. Looks impeccable right after it's done. But what happens when you have to clean it? What happens when you spill something on it? Even if you seal a concrete, it is so porous. It absorbs absolutely everything, and it is more sensitive than marble. You're gonna have etching here, etching there, a water droplet there. If you have anything acidic, it's going to break down the actual concrete. And with concrete being so stable in an installation, in a house that is constantly moving, that people don't actually realize, it is going to crack. It is prone to holes. Everything is going to start chipping away at the corners and the parts. Over time, it's not going to give you that same look of when it was freshly done. Also consider this. How many times are you wiping down and cleaning your kitchen? You almost need to be resealing that concrete weekly with how much you clean. I don't know about you, but I am a clean freak. And when it comes to cleaning my kitchen, I am using whatever disinfectant I can use to break down any bacteria that is on the surface. And if you're not doing that, especially on those porous concrete countertops, they're just going to harbor bacteria and they're never going to be actually fully clean. So another great offender is, looks great in photographs right after it's done, but as soon as you start using it, it starts to fall apart.
You are tearing me apart, Lisa!
And it doesn't give you that same look and that aesthetic style of what you're looking to achieve. This offender, I am personal about because I have made this mistake, but it is the exposed light bulbs. Those Sputnik fixtures are absolutely gorgeous. That style, it remains timeless and they have been around for a while. But consider this, anything at eye level, sitting or standing, and having that exposed bulb gives such a reaction to your eyes that it cannot actually give you a break. It is constantly buzzing either in the corner of your eye or straight in front of you. If you're sitting on a couch and you have one of those exposed bulbs on a table lamp, that's all you see and you can see nothing else around it. They are so annoying when it comes down to an actual livable standpoint. Like I said, these fixtures are beautiful. You can have table lights, you can have floor lamps, you can have those hanging pendants that are great. But if you don't have anything to diffuse that light, you're going to hate it and you're going to learn the hard way, because I know I did. When I talked about this on my TikTok, I got a lot of hate for it because if you are an avid cooker, you think this is the greatest thing, but honestly, it's not. It's the hanging pot racks, either above your island, above your sink, or the surround of your kitchen. I get the ease of access to it, especially if you are a constant cook and you're in the kitchen all the time. Having that ease of exposure to just grab a pot and pan that you need is great, and they have been styled so perfectly. Even Kylie Jenner's home on the Architectural Digest review, you could see them like so perfectly posed. It really added to the aesthetic and the style of the kitchen in a whole. But from a livable standpoint, how many times have you cleaned the bottom of your pans and pots? Have you looked at them recently? Because even though I clean mine quite often, they do not look good. And if you're having all of those hanging pots and pans, that constant exposure at eye level or just above, they're grimy, they're stingy, they're dirty. And if you are actually using these pots and pans, they don't look that great to have them on display. So once again, this is another great offender to have something that looks so stylized and perfect in pictures, but when it comes to a livable standpoint, they add so much busyness to a kitchen that is already really congested. Adding these extra features in don't do anything for the space except clutter it more. Open concept bathrooms. Yes, I said it. They are a thing. I didn't even realize these existed until I actually saw them coming to fruition, and a lot of big influencers even have these and they're sharing them on their home tours. I honestly don't know what to say. I am a loss for words because the last thing I want is to be sitting on the toilet in the middle of the room with no privacy whatsoever. Could you imagine? I already have anxiety sitting down in a public toilet, and the idea of someone just like opening or knocking on the door. You have no protection in these. You're sitting down and you are wide open to whoever is going to come in. I get the idea of these. They look beautiful in photographs, but there is a certain level of privacy that is required in any bathroom setting. And if I can see a fully exposed toilet from any angle of the bathroom, it's going to be a major issue, not only for yourself, but any guests or people that you have using them in your home. This design trend was inherited from a lot of hotels that really lacked on space and incorporated this into their design, which was already an issue as is. But the fact that some designers have started incorporating them into their actual homes is a major issue here. A lot of designers don't take into consideration how they actually feel in a space, and that should always be your number one priority when designing any space itself. How do you feel in the space? It's not just for the client itself. I want you to think from a livable standpoint is 1, how does it function? 2, is it livable? And 3, how does it actually clean? Because this reminds me of a gas stop bathroom that you could literally take a pressure hose in and clean the entire thing all in one go. Yeah, it sounds like a great idea, but 2, not gonna do it for me. This is another great offender that a lot of people don't take into consideration when designing their kitchen. It is the push-pull hardware underneath the island if you have seating. I get the idea of having that beautiful clean aesthetic underneath the kitchen counter and having those stools either bar height or counter height in front of them. But the major issue is the usability of the push-pull hardware. Any slight little kick from you or your guest is going to open and close those doors, and it's going to be so annoying. Honestly, if you have not sat at an island with a push-pull hardware, naturally your feet just kind of dangle there. They're going to just hit the end of it. Every single time you touch it, it opens. It's going to pop right open. You got to press your foot in to close it again. And as soon as you touch it again, repeat, repeat, repeat. I understand the aesthetic of not wanting to have handles here, but I would highly recommend getting an edge pull. An edge pull is very clean, very simple, and minimal. You can either at the top or along the side surface or even the bottom. That way you can still have access to those cabinets without having to worry about them popping open and closing and annoying every single person in the household. This is another one that falls under that DIY trend that people really jumped on, and it looks so great because travertine itself is such a beautiful stone. It is so versatile when it comes to all the different styles, aesthetics, and uses you can have it for. But these coffee table trends that people jumped on, let me tell you. Travertine, first of all, is a stone, which means it's heavy. 2, it is extremely porous. And 3, everyone that was making these travertine side tables or coffee tables were going to Home Depot or hardware stores to buy these items. The only accessible standpoint from hardware stores are travertine pavers. They are even more porous than actual travertine stone is, and they're not properly sealed. So you're getting all these tiny little microscopic holes or even larger holes at them that once again absorb absolutely everything, every cleaning agent, every speck of dust, and they start to fill up with a lot of grime, especially if you are constantly cleaning or dusting any top surface. The other major issue with these is that they are heavy. The idea of not having any actual structural support behind these is an accident and a disaster waiting to happen. Most DIY people that have done these are using like liquid nails or a really strong adhesive agent, which can work in the short term. But if you ever have to move one of these or lift them up, they're going to fall apart in an instant. No amount of liquid nails is going to save you. And the last thing I would want to see is a poor animal bumping into one of these, or if you're moving and it falls and it creates a disaster. Another great offender of it looks great in photographs, but in practice, not so great. With the rise in popularity of brass and copper for a lot of fixtures lately, it is a beautiful tone and it matches so many different aesthetics and styles. The major issue a lot of people don't consider is the unlacquered finishes of these plumbing items. Anything that you're using is unlacquered means that it is a raw finish. The raw finish itself, when exposed to the elements, water, sun, just the natural oils from your hands from touching it over time will patina in it, which can be unbelievably beautiful if that's the look that you're going for. But if you are a high maintenance person and like a very picture perfect look, the idea of an unlacquered finish just doesn't do it for you. You're going to be constantly cleaning it. You need at least an astringent or a vinegar-based cleaner to constantly clean it and make sure that it looks tip-top condition. Because otherwise, if you do not have that aged patina look over time, the in-between, I would compare it to your hair grow out. You want to have long hair, but trust me, you need to go through months and months of an ugly haircut in between before you achieve that look. I have gone through it myself, both with hair and a patinaed finish, and trust me, it's not worth it. I will always consider looking for a prefabricated or a pre-finished material in a copper or a brass to get that aged look if you want that already at the end instead of going through that long process of hating it until you love it. Last on the list is wallpaper in a full bathroom. And when I'm talking about a full bathroom, I'm talking about the toilet, the sink, the shower, and the tub if you have a 4 or 5 piece set, not just your typical powder room. Wallpaper itself has many different fabrications that are put into it and the glue adhesives of what actually keeps it on the wall if it's sealed or not. No amount of sealer or finish on top of wallpaper can take the amount of steam and moisture imbalance that full bathroom sets may have. These are perfect examples of how wallpaper can fully envelop a space and really change the style and look to add to that moody, beautiful style. But I would consider just keeping wallpaper to those powder rooms that don't have a high amount of moisture. Within the first year, you're already gonna notice peeling from the corners and the edges of anywhere that wallpaper is actually sealed on. Trust me, I made this mistake mistake when designing a place years ago of using this wallpaper in a full bathroom. It looked absolutely stunning, much like these images. And once again, like I said, within that first year, the edges were already starting to peel off. And for the amount that wallpaper actually costs, not only for the paper itself, but the install on it, it's not worth the price point of having to replace over time. So once again, this is another really great offender of looking great in photographs, but from a practicality standpoint, does not live up to its name. Let me know if I should do a follow-up video on more practical interior designs. If you aren't already, subscribe to my channel and you can follow me on all my socials at Mr. Phoenix Gray. And as always, if you're ever second guessing yourself, just think, what would Design Daddy do?